Okay, Joe, so progress so far on this is basically it's almost done, right? So start the custom wizard, JWX Waxing, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you the files. Where are they? I think you're going to find them in program files, DeskProto. I'm going to send you the zip file that I created. It's in the wizards. So I've zipped up everything over there. I've changed some of the files inside here, so you need to overwrite them. If you want to, just back up that folder somewhere else. And so just run it from here. So now, for now, we'll rename it later when we're done. Load geometry, and just go next. Okay, so what's changed in the background that you're not seeing happening here is in load geometry. I've changed the default machine to be Minitech, to be Mac 2.3 with rotational axis. I've changed some of the maximum speeds so it doesn't crash out with an error using the default. Alright, so the other thing I've done is I've changed the hub sizes. I'll go through them as we do them. Alright, so the thing that I still want to change over here is I'm going to dump this part of the wizard because we don't need it. Over here I'm going to change the minimum, so instead of 8 you can have it as thin as you need. Probably a minimum would be 6 because we use a 6mm hub for Brands Arbor. In the meantime, just use 8. Alright, where this is used is when it calculates your roughing from the sides. So I can't remove this dialog because you might be cutting a 20mm wide ring and you want to specify that you need roughing from 20mm, so I can't remove this, but that over there we can dump. That's easy. So just go check and next. Okay, so the next thing I've done is you can tell that I've opened up, instead of a 10mm hub, I've opened up for a 13mm hub, which is kind of your minimum for Brands Arbor, otherwise you start getting cracks through the corners. Alright. I have a concern about where it places the spokes. We can address that later if we really need to. I'll explain to you now what I mean. Shank is 1.9, so I'm going to make a 1.8mm spoke because otherwise I'm going to stick past the side. Okay, so the next biggest difference you'll see between this and the original one was that in the JWX the hub is offset from the center outwards to one side, and so are all the supports. And on a thin ring like this, with your hubs already off one side and your supports are off one side, I have some concerns about how flaky that would be. I think you'd get a lot of vibration in your head when you're cutting, but anyway, that's not our problem. So the supports are created, you go next. So the next issue for us over here is going to be the choice of cutters, because their system uses 3 little hollows and a drill hole kind of thing, whatever it is. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. If we use a tapered cutter, because how the hell am I going to fit a 2mm ball end in a hole like that? You with me? You can't. So you need to use a tapered cutter, and the problem is this concatenates all the parts into one. So a tapered cutter is going to give you a tapered wall section for Brands Arbor. So I figured the easiest way around that is, and there's also a solution coming from Bits and Bits, is to use the Pro Mill, which has a 317 flat end mill with a tapered end on it, which is your standard tapered ball end. At the moment you can buy it, I think, with a spiral pyramid end or something like that. So what you can do with that is you can chase it, say whatever the cutter length is, 25mm or 20mm or 15, I don't know what it is. So you'd move the DXF geometry that we've got for creating this, you'd move it below Z by, say, 20mm, export and bring it into DeskProto. Then that path will actually cut. It'll plunge the tool all the way through so that you get onto the flat section and then cut that. Okay, I'll address that if it needs it. Alright. Otherwise, like we said, we just create a taper on Brands Arbor, a custom taper. Alright, I'm going to leave this all as is because I'm not interested in spending a long time doing it. So this will create all the parts, as you can see in the background. Flip it all around, go next, and calculate toolpaths. Now I'd like to give us the option not to calculate toolpaths in case we want to go in and change stuff and don't have to sit waiting for it to calculate toolpaths the first time. So I'm going to give an option to just, I'm going to ungray the dialog box so you can carry on without calculating the toolpaths. I'm going to pause this while it generates the rotary. Okay, so we're done. Let's go next. I don't want to write any NC files at this point, so just exit it. Alright, so basically everything is done. Alright, now there are a couple of things about the way that it generates the pass that I'm not happy on. I'll show you what I mean. The finishing. Let's have a look. Not too bad, I suppose. Now, of course, this was written with a ball end, and I don't like that it comes over the edge. So I'd probably be changing that methodology to skip all ambient. And there's a roughing pass, which, considering that you've already cut the ring from two sides and there is no other geometry on the top, I think is superfluous. There's no need for it. I understand why Lex has put it in. You might have had a ring with lots of cavities through the bottom here that maybe need 2 or 3 parts going down. So I won't remove it, but you're able to just maybe turn it off when you output your files. Alright, so the important part for you and me is we need to change an X offset. So sorry, let me just get into there. So go to the flat side. So I'm going to turn off all of that. Now you can't see because I'm not sure how to change the view. Can I change the view options model? Can I send it to shaded options preferences? Can I set the model to colors? No. MC, was it advanced? Can I change general? Okay, anyway, you're gonna have to take my word on it that here is the hub cutting routine, and inside there is branch. Oh, hang on a second, I've got to open here. Alright, so these were the original core routines for cutting the holes for the JWX. Alright, so I've replaced it with the hub cut for branch arbor. Okay, well, in my case, branch arbor. Alright, so that's sitting underneath there, and that will cut nicely. So you've got the same thing, 2D drill holes, and everything's happening through there. What you need to change on your machine is you're going to need to open, let me just close this to a smaller size. You need to open WizPage JWX new parts. I've put a notice in there, change this to reflect your own X. So my branch arbor from the section where it slides into the rotary to the center of the ring is 29.6 millimeters. The JWX thing was 68 mil or whatever it is. So this is the line that you need to change just here. Okay. And make that reflect whatever yours is, and then cut 1 or 2 test parts, and you may find that you need to adjust this by 0.1 either way, whatever it is. I think that's just going to be a little tweaking exercise for you, and pretty much, mate, that is that. So I'm going to spend a little bit more time this afternoon after I've played with the boys to just optimize these parts. I don't, like I said, I don't like the finishing pass going over the sides in the rotary, so I'll make a couple of changes over there, and really that's that. And this will then run on any Minitech. Okay, matey, catch you later. Cheers, Chris out.